everybody.
Hi.
Okay. Linda Reed wanted to raise her hand, but she can't figure it out.
Oh, okay. Did we get there?
No, she was waving, but put your wave hand up and Brittany will call on you.
That's
The one
true.
that,
I
yeah,
see a lot of
there you go.
hands.
Yes.
Good.
Okay.
There.
She clapped. That's okay. We'll count that as a hand raise. I see it on my screen. Okay.
All right. You got a bunch of new people, Brett.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Sally.
Right.
Hey, you guys. Hello. Welcome, everybody. My screen looks a little different than it normally does today. Bear with me. Oh, hi.
Oops.
Oops, Linda, here. There you go. You muted yourself. Okay. Linda, I know that you wanted to raise your hand, so I will come to you. I won't forget. I'll start with Katie and then Jody next. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Katie. Katie K.
There we go.
Go.
Okay. Hi.
Hey.
I just wanted to do a share really quickly because it spoke to me so much when I did what happened last time.
Awesome. Thank you.
I anticipated stuff to come up later on talking about assault and body bound. Like I didn't expect it right now. But sure enough, what happened last time resulted in yeah. So that would kind of threw me off. My buddy group allowed me to talk through it and figure out it wasn't work that was bothering me. It was having to talk about this. And I had to do it at work because my therapist is in Paraguay and it was -7 degrees outside. So I didn't want to sit in my car. So having to be at work talking about something so intense with my therapist who's in a whole different hemisphere with not great internet really was stressing me out.
I bet. I can imagine.
To the point I blocked off my calendar for like 2 hours afterwards because I didn't know how it would go. And it was probably the lightest I've felt in years. It was so hard to talk about. It was one of the hardest things I've done in life. And I walked away knowing I did absolutely everything I could and it wasn't my fault. And I've solely put the blame on myself for nearly 20 years.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I just wanted to get on and say, don't let work or your therapist being half a world away or anything stop you or the anxiety of it, because I would just wish upon everybody like the relief and the peace that I felt after doing that. Even though I did get worked up a little bit before, he tapped with me and got me through it as he studied the material before the call with me. So it just really has changed everything and like kind of accelerated my learning. So thank you for helping me with my 20-year problem.
It's an honor, Katie. Thank you so much for sharing that story. And I'm so glad that my message reached you and that you were brave enough and you didn't make excuses and you just went for it. So, well done you.
Thank you. It was fantastic.
Good. Well, I can't wait to keep seeing your process over time. Are you relatively new? If you're in what happened last time, it's been like maybe what, a couple months?
Yeah, I signed up January 11th and started the following week.
Awesome.
But thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you. Glad you're here. All right, Jody, you're next.
Hi, Brittany. I haven't spoken yet, so I haven't had a chance to chat with you. So I'm so glad to be able to do that today. My question is about having physical reactions to the tapping. So I'm just really curious. So I've been struggling with week number 3 for a bit, only because my food was rationed from a very young age with my mom. My mom put me on my first diet when I was in grade 3. So I just thought this isn't really it's not gonna fit for me because I just don't. And we were very poor. So the idea of throwing away food is
terrifying.
Okay, however, I went and tried to do it again on Monday, and I was very surprised with the amount of emotion that came up. And without going into too much detail, because again, this is only sort of my second call or half. I was only there for the first half last time, so I'm not sure how much depth to go in. But what I've had since is a very, very sore stomach, like very sore upper stomach. So yeah, I'm just wondering if that is sort of normal.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, I'm so sorry for what you're going through, and I can see and feel that there's a lot of pain behind this work for you. And I also want to encourage you, and it sounds like you're sticking with it and you're digging through it. It doesn't make it any easier though. This is really, really hard work. It goes fast once you address it and once you know what to do. And usually the beginning, when you first started tapping, is the worst. It gets a lot easier. Even if the issues are larger, the more tapping you do, the easier the purges are. Let's call them purges. So yeah, you're having a really strong reaction right now. And it's super normal for people to have physical reactions. Some people feel extremely exhausted. Some people, these are less common. These aren't, but I can't say that like, yes, this is super normal that it's happening to you. But I do know that people go through and have physical reactions to the tapping. So, typically that means there's just more there that wants to come out. So I would always look at that as a good sign. Um, if it's really uncomfortable and if it's really intense and you're like, I can't do this right now, then take a break, walk away, go do something nice for yourself, chill, relax, watch some Netflix, check out, do all the things that can kind of like soothe you, right? And then come back to it. Come back to it when you feel ready and when you're stronger. And if you feel like, hey, I just want to get this out and I just want to go further and I want to do this thing, then maybe give it another 20 or 30 minutes of tapping and see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's more to come out because I just got teary even sharing it with you. So I definitely, and I was very surprised at the guilt as a little girl that I was holding.
Mm,
Um, yeah, just taking responsibility for stuff that a little grade 3-year,
mm.
and I've told myself my whole life that it was my fault.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Jody. Yeah. I think we can probably all relate to this here, just so you don't feel alone. And we can all tap with Jody too. Um, one of the things that I was going to say with the tears, when you have a discovery about something that has happened in your past and you feel really sad about it, like what you're experiencing now, it means that you're at the completion of it. So it is sad. It is sad because you're realizing how long you've been struggling with this and how long you've lived that lie, right?
Yeah.
And also now it's over, right? So you're at the final completion and that will no longer affect you anymore. So I really want to encourage you to tap on that and to make peace with that, and also congratulate you on being able to see that, because you've lived a different reality for your whole life up until now, which is huge. I mean, that's a huge perspective shift. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. And keep tapping. You see everybody here tapping on the screen. We can clear this for you if you just want to sit, and like if you want to sit in your emotions after we disconnect, or stay on the group, but everybody can just keep tapping and you can feel your emotions. And if there's anything up for anybody else and you're feeling like a little bit triggered or you're feeling emotional, maybe you want to share or maybe you don't want to share. Us all tapping together at the same time has shown to allow the group to have like sort of experience group healings in rapid speed, and nobody can really explain why. There's not really science behind it. There's some like metaphysical explanations for it, but if anybody has something that they really want to work on right now, just bring it up, feel it, and while the rest of us are tapping, you will probably be able to clear it faster than you can do it on your own. So just letting you know that that's an option. All right, thanks, Jody. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna lower your hand. Okay, I don't want to lose. Where was? Oh, Linda, she figured out how to put her hand up. Okay, cool. All right, Crystal. Hey, Crystal, go ahead and unmute yourself.
There we go. Hi, just started introducing myself to you. It's the first call I've been on. I'm working in week 4 of the lessons. And so I wanted to share though that the throwing out food thing is working really well. I just dumped part of my supper in the garbage. So that's huge, huge win than having to finish it all, finish everything. I thought, so that's going really well. Cravings, I'm not a person who does a lot of cravings, and so I've been able to disassociate myself from a couple of them. I didn't have many, but I had a couple, and was able to figure out what the association was
Okay.
for it. The biggest thing though that I have to figure out is the emotional eating, of being able to tap through it and not take myself to the fridge in the evening.
Okay.
So that's the one gonna need probably the most help. And I guess if I had a question, it's what is the best use of our coaching time? Is that now that I've gone through a couple of the
Yeah.
lessons and I feel like, okay, I understand what we're doing. And I know that I always, up until now, I have always, I start to lose weight, people start to comment and I go, oh no, let's not do that.
Yeah.
And so that's the
Okay.
the big thing I need help with.
Yeah. So okay, so you have a coaching package, right? Oh, you
Right. Yes.
popped down off. Oh, you turned you put your hand down and you moved on my screen. Okay. So you
Oh,
have
I didn't. Okay.
yeah, no, it's I found you.
Okay.
So what you want to use coaching for is your biggest blocks. So if you have any kind of sexual trauma, or if you have any like what happened last time,
Okay.
if people are making comments to you and telling you how great you look and that really triggers you, but you can't connect it to a memory, that's something that you could work on with your coach. Or she could say like she could be those other people and she could repeat to you, oh wow, look, you look so great, and that could really trigger you, and then you could tap through it on a session with her. So it really just depends. I always say save the hardest stuff for your coaching sessions.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I was sexually abused as a child, and even though I've done all the head work and body memory releases, when it comes to food, I started gaining weight when I was like age 8 or 9, and continued until I was a teenager. And when the abuse stopped, it was because I had gained a lot of weight. That's how my mind perceived it.
Oh, okay.
And so I know that it's all connected.
Right. Well, I'm so glad you have coaching then. Just if you're ready for it, which sounds like you are, just dive right into that with your coach.
Okay.
Yeah, because that'll, you can do all the other stuff and it'll all work and it'll all be fine, but you'll constantly like something new will pop up. Something constantly new will pop up until you deal with that part of it. So
Right. Okay.
yeah, that's a great question. I'm really glad you asked. So
All right.
focus on that. And then what I would do is I would just do, if the emotional eating is a problem, I would just focus on emotional eating for the next month, or 2 weeks to a month. You sound
Okay.
like you did throw the food away, and that's worked really well for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just I would focus your attention on just the emotional eating part of it and your work with your coach over the next month.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds great.
All
Okay,
right. Thanks,
thank
Crystal.
you. Mhm.
Okay. Bye. I'm gonna turn my AC on a little higher. What's that, guys? It's like hot and then cold and then hot and cold. It's Texas. I'm not used to this weather. Okay, Sydney. Hey, Sydney. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, Brittany. Hey, everyone. Um, this is my first laser call. So I guess I'll give a quick introduction. I joined February 3rd, and I've just been like gung ho about doing
Awesome.
doing the work. I'm really using the anger and boundary tapping a lot.
Great. That's hard stuff. Well done.
Yeah, I almost wonder, I'm like, am I doing this too much? But it just feels like there's just so much material there for me to work with. Just to have a couple, my estranged with my dad and my sister, and sort of repairing a relationship with my dad, but it's just really tricky, and so there's just material coming up every day. And yeah, so doing a lot of that, it feels like though that anger material and work and just emotions come up a lot in the echo tapping, and I sometimes am just like overwhelmed with what is calling me to do in the moment.
Right.
And I had a session with Camilla, and she said, it's okay to like if you're echo tapping, like just and you want to vent or do some anger work, that's fine. Like it can be a little more fluid. But I guess I also,
100%.
yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's actually one of the we call it shit, what do we call I haven't taught my coaching certification in a while. Do we call it advanced echo tapping? I don't know, I forget what we call it, but we have a name for it. And it's basically being able to use all of the techniques basically in one session. And so that's
Okay.
usually like when I'm doing a session with somebody one-on-one, we'll start with an echo, maybe do some ball of light, we'll get into some anger, we'll do boundaries all in the same session. So
Okay.
so yeah, the techniques are fluid in a sense of, if you're doing an echo and you have a lot of anger come up, it's absolutely like that's actually what it's for. We just
Okay.
teach the push the food away. I teach it with less steps, obviously, for people who are just being introduced to the technique, because these are really complicated techniques already, right? So adding like
Yeah.
4 different things. But if you're really diving into the material, which I can tell you are, and you're like, hey, this is all coming up for me, yeah, go absolutely do that. Combining those
Okay,
things
cool.
will give you great healing in a much faster time. So
Okay.
I'm
Yeah. I don't know if I have time to ask a couple other questions.
yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, I think that's just it. Like I've got some pretty serious health issues that I'm like, oh my God, I just want to change my relationship with food like yesterday. And
Right.
so there's a lot of desire and motivation, and I hope like maturity and readiness and like timing of being able to actually really heal this stuff. But it would yeah, my like other than just continuing to practice and do the tapping and do the work, like do you have any advice for if you've got this, like I've got this thing in the back of my head of like, oh, I'm moving through cancer, had surgery, and like how do you take that off the shelf and just not go into the dieting or like, oh, I gotta juice, I gotta also try to behaviorally and intellectually change my diet, because I am noticing the attachment to food and the cravings soften and change, like even just in the past 3 weeks of tapping.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to put pressure on myself to be somewhere where I'm not yet, and then sabotage or just kind of, implode.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm clear. Did you just have surgery for cancer? Is that what you said?
4 months ago, yeah, thyroid cancer, and it's heavy. It's fucking heavy, and I haven't been able to change my my diet, like even in the face of a diagnosis like
Yeah,
thyroid cancer. So there's a desperation for me to like really heal the food
totally.
stuff.
I,
Yeah,
yeah, I get that. Well, makes sense that there's a lot of anger and boundary tapping coming up for you then. And
yeah,
um, yeah, I've actually seen, I haven't really kept my thumb on many health issues because that's not really what or like, yeah, illnesses, I would say. But I have seen people who struggle with illnesses dive really deep into anger work, and that's usually always what it's about. Like that, they will rapidly change. So I think you're
yeah,
on the right track. Your subconscious is like taking you to the right place.
yeah,
Yeah, if it becomes too much, you can always, well, I was going to tell you something else, but I don't actually think that that's good advice for you. Your idea that you need to change your food is I mean, obviously that's the advice that you're going to get from all the doctors and traditional medicine,
yep,
and you want to eat healthy. And it's also a lot to like do all of this work and try to change all of your behaviors. There's advice that I really like from a health coach that I used to follow, who said, just start adding things instead of taking things away, start adding things. So she would
yeah,
say, like, add a salad to every meal, or if you're not eating any salad, add a salad to one meal.
yeah,
That, when you're changing your diet, that it's easier to add things rather than take away. And also, once you're done with the anger work and once you've gone through the material, your eating habits will just naturally change what you're experiencing. But I understand that you want to be a little bit more proactive, and I think I would too.
yeah,
And I think probably a healthy way to approach that at this point is just by adding healthy things, focusing on adding healthy things rather than changing necessarily. Because the change
yeah,
work, the bad stuff will go away with the tapping.
yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. The last question is, I think this is probably potent to bring to my coach, but I went to a group tapping, and I just was paralyzed with the tapping is so effective, but and these emotions are coming up, and I just don't want to be seen in emoting in group. And I'm like, well, Sydney, it might be good to go back. Like, I want to do the group. I want to tap in a group with this, community. And I'm just like, maybe I keep my camera off for a little bit while I tap, while we go through things. Because
Yeah,
I'm just
that's
like,
It's fine. It's super normal. Yeah. I mean, there's a layer of vulnerability that's challenging when you've got your camera on with people that you don't know. So it makes a lot of sense to me if you
yeah,
turn your camera off. And then, as you gain familiarity with the group, then maybe the cameras go on a little bit later.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All
Cool.
right.
Thanks,
Thank you, Brittany.
Brittany. All right. I'm glad you're here. Well done on all the
Thank you.
tapping.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Helmi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I just wanted to pop in to mention a couple of things because I finished the program just over a month ago, and everything has gone just crazy since. It's like miracle after miracle. Um
Tell
and
us.
Yeah,
Yay.
it's just amazing. It's crazy. So everything that you said would happen happened exactly the way that you said it would happen. And I confess I didn't really believe you at the time. And
Okay.
so one of the things that changed, for people who don't know me, I come from like a long-term like sexual assault history and sexual assault fears, terror, not wanting to leave the house, that kind of thing. And so one of the things that I had in the fall when I started the program in September was every time I saw a petite woman, a lean woman, particularly like my height or shorter, I'm 5'4", I would just get so nervous for her, because I would be like, somebody could just pick you up and walk away with you. Like, if you are lean and you're, you know, my height or shorter, like, you're so stealable. And don't talk to me, Brittany, about limiting beliefs and whatever, because this is physics, like mass moves mass, and like a 200-pound guy is going to be able to pick up, you know, a small woman like that. Don't argue with, right? And so I had this real fear of like, if I get lean again, someone could just like pick me up and like throw me in the back of a van, and like, what am I gonna do, right? It's all very dark, and it was horrible, and it was just this fear that followed me everywhere. So in the last 2 months, I've picked up roller skating, because I read this book about aging that said you're supposed to do cardio, and I hate cardio. And I was like, what's a way of doing cardio that is fun and isn't going to impact my joints? And so I was like, oh, let me try roller skating. Anyway, so I'm getting super into it. And I go skating with one of my friends who's like a 200+ pound guy. And as we're like dancing together, skating together, trying to figure stuff out, the thought crossed my mind, if I were really lean, he could just pick me up and walk away with me. But like as a roller skating lift.
Oh,
So
wow.
the exact same thought, the exact same mentality, the exact same like mass moves mass, like you can't argue with me about physics, from like being kidnappable and being like, you know, vulnerable out in public because someone could just bundle me away somewhere. The exact same thought was, if I were lean, he could just pick me up and walk away with me. And
On
we
roller
could do
skates.
on roller skates, and we could do like lifts.
Oh my gosh, how cool is that? Talk about changing your vibration.
Like, isn't that nuts that it's the exact same,
Yeah.
you know, thinking? And then the other night I was like, let's try it. And he popped me right up over his shoulder, and I was like on his back, not on skates. We tried it like just on our feet first.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so fun. Like it's really fun when someone picks you up and walks away with you.
That's so funny. My friend who teaches, I just went to a conscious kink workshop. She teaches all about sexuality. She would say, you kinkified your fear.
I had no idea that it would shift like that. And so instead of the fear being this like, you know, thing that kept me home all the time, now I'm like, okay, let's go try this. Let's go roller skating. Let's see if you can lift me. Let's, you know.
Awesome.
So that's been, it's so fun. It's been amazing.
Wow.
And then the other thing that that happened is, and I don't like talking about this too much, but I feel that it's important to admit that you were right. So you know how you're like, yeah, I figured you'd be fine about it. So you know how you're always like, oh, you know, you finished the program and like the weight will release and like trust the process and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whatever, like I have lost 2 pounds. Bernie, sorry, that's my dog. Dave, can you come get him, please? Because I'm on the call right now. Sorry, big dog, big bark. So so I have lost 2 pounds a month at the very most that I've ever lost in my life. Last time I lost weight, I lost 11 pounds in 6 months. And I was such a bitch that my husband had to put me on a hanger management program
Nice.
because it was just getting out of control. And he was like, please don't lose more weight. You're so mean. Like, please don't drop your calories. And so I finished the program and I was like, I'm not dropping my calories, 2,000 to 2,400. Like, I'm not going below that. I have lost 12 fucking pounds in the last 4 weeks.
Holy shit. Oh my God,
And-
that's amazing.
Which took me 6 months to lose, like the last time I tried to lose weight. And the crazy thing is, inexplicably, it's all coming off my waist.
Oh,
I lost 3.5 inches off my waist, and my boobs and my hips have like basically stayed the same.
wow.
And I was like, and before, so for people who don't know me, like my thing with all the fear and the trauma was like, I have like a small, like naturally I have a small waist, and then that's always like, oh, you have a small waist, you're gonna get too much attention, people are gonna be mad at you, like you gotta gain weight, cover it up, da da da. And so I did all of these meditations with the program where it's like, you know, walk with your future self and like get used to how these things go and like get used to your body. So the fact that it's all coming off my waist is like an emotional, that has to be emotional. Like that's never happened. So I was so skeptical with this whole like, oh, do your inner work and then your body will release or whatever. And it has been the easiest 12 pounds I've ever lost in my life. I don't think about, I have the charity that I started, I bake birthday cakes for kids who live in domestic violence shelters and their moms. So there is so much cake at my house, like all the time, like cake and buttercream and more cake. And my little self, her name's Wilhelm, and she's always the one that wants cupcakes and sugar and da da da. And I was decorating a cake and I said, "Hey kiddo, how you feeling about this?" And she goes, "Beautiful cupcakes are like flowers. They smell amazing and they look great, but you don't put them in your mouth."
Wow. Wow.
So you're okay with this? And she's like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Did you know it matters how I feel?" And she's like, "I don't feel good after I eat cupcakes."
Oh, wow. Unreal.
And I was like, normally it's me dieting and hating everyone and her being like, "Give me a cupcake or I'll, you know, I'm gonna fuck something up." And
Yeah.
now she's like, "It's like a perfume. It smells amazing, but you don't spray perfume in your mouth."
Wow. What a transformation, Helmy. Holy shit. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm so happy for you.
And now I'm up to my elbows in cake all day long and I feel absolutely no desire to like go face first into it like I have my entire life.
Fuck yeah, girl. Amazing.
Crazy. Yeah. So I just
Well
wanted to share
done.
that because you were right. Okay. The whole thing exactly the way you said it was going to happen. And I'm sorry I doubted you. And you totally were right.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, damn, right on, woman. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm so impressed. And you know, you had the courage to dive headfirst and really face all your demons, and you did it in record speed, which is, I think, why this is happening for you so fast. Not everybody is, you know, not everybody can do it all at once or is willing to go there, and you did. So well done, you.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing, Helmy. What a motivation to the people who just started. Terry, go ahead and unmute yourself.
You.
Hi.
Hi, Brittany. I'm so happy to be here. This is amazing. I just thank you for providing this. This is, yeah, when I did the 7-day tapathon, I did the when I did the ball of light, and I had passed it to my grandmother's um boyfriend, and we did pass it back and forth, and it was just amazing because I felt the magic in that. I instantly felt something. I'm like, this is something that's going to help me. My issue is definitely it's the sweet cravings, and I only get them at night. So I've discovered that it's not even like the sweet anymore. It's the texture. It's the chew and it's the texture of the food. So I guess my question would be, like, I don't really know how, it's a combination. It's emotional and it's cravings, clearly. So, I am working with Camilla.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had one session and it seemed to bring things down a little bit, but then it came back like full force. Now I find myself, because I have to keep the candy in the house so I can go through and do the tapping as we do, but I feel like I'm eating more than I ever have. And it's
Mm.
only at night. It's definitely it's just a soothing thing for me. It's always been like I eat like an angel during the day. I'm very conscious of what I put in my mouth. I drink my water, I exercise, I do all the things, but it's the candy at night. And I think about it, and it's directly back to childhood because I have sexual trauma. So I know that that has everything to do with it. But it's like
Yeah.
I need to do that chewing thing at night or I can't fall asleep.
Okay. So you went a little fast.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Let me just make sure I got it right. So did are you saying you're eating more at night since you started the program? Like
Yeah.
you're triggered? Okay. Okay. And have you worked on the sexual trauma with Kim yet?
We just that one session. I have another one coming up soon. I just didn't know, like, because I had listening to all these. I went back in the program. I listened to all these
Did
sessions,
you?
and I
Okay.
hadn't heard this. It's just so specific for me. I feel like it makes it a little bit different, and that I truly cannot sleep unless I'm doing it.
Okay, you can't sleep unless you're chewing something or unless you have sugar.
The chewing, it's the sugar. It's the consistency of gummy candy. It's gummy candy that I'm addicted to.
Okay, so you have to do the chewing thing. Do you fall asleep with food in your mouth, or you have to do it at night and then you can fall asleep?
Oh, I fall asleep with food in my mouth.
Oh, you do. Oh,
Oh
interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
It's usually gummy candy, so I don't remember. I'll look in the morning. I don't remember. I don't know if I'm eating in my sleep. Like sometimes I consume way more than I realize and I'm not even aware that I did it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I only had a
Okay.
couple of pieces, and I look in the morning around, like how much did I eat last night? It's
Yeah.
awful. Like, I have full dentures because of this.
Oh my God. Okay. I
Yeah.
feel like 80% of this is going to go away once you really dive into your sexual trauma tapping.
Yeah.
You can do you can do some specific tapping on what do I like about it. And you could do some ball of light with it too, where so it's the feeling of chomping on something. Is that what it is? Is that what you've identified?
It's the chewy. There's something soothing about it.
Okay. Can
That
you
chewy candy.
The chewy, have you done the ball of light on that feeling particularly?
Not on the feeling, no.
Okay. I would recommend doing that because that's something super easy that you can do with yourself. You don't need a coach for that.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you get into the sexual trauma, it's a lot harder to tackle, especially if you've just started addressing it with tapping. So I would save that for your sessions with Kim. But yeah, try to, before the nighttime, I would do this in the daytime. Get some candy, like don't wait until you're triggered to do it because that's harder to do. So maybe
Like
in
I feel anxious right now. It's dark here. I live in Rhode Island. It's dark. The sun's going down. I know it's coming. I already know. I'm
Okay.
like, oh boy, what's gonna happen tonight?
Okay.
Mm.
The chewy feeling, if you it, so the chewing feeling soothes you. Who does the chewing feeling remind you of?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, my dad, I guess. I guess my dad. My dad.
Okay. And he wasn't the one that abused you, right?
No, he was.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is I want you to take this feeling, the chewy soothing feeling, and I want you to imagine tasting the gummies in your mind. Imagine doing your ritual that you do and sending that taste, that feeling, and even that ritual to your dad, and have him receive it in his heart. Do the ball of light, but start with this feeling, the chewy feeling, and have him send it back and forth to you while you tap through the points. Same as what you know that technique, the ball of light technique?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Try that and see what happens. And then your next session with Kim is in 2 days.
Yes.
Okay, great. Do that for as long as you can until you like notice your body relax, and feel good. Maybe you'll have a memory come up. Maybe you won't, maybe the craving for that will go away. Maybe something will come up that's even deeper, but you've got a session with Kim in 2 days. So whatever the case is, you know, I would do the ball of light for as long as it feels good and until you feel yourself relax. And then if you want to do it again later when the sun sets, and if the craving comes back again, do it again later. Don't just say, oh, I did it once and it didn't work. You know, do it again later. Do it a couple times tonight, and then see what happens over the next couple days.
Okay. So I did notice, like with the original ball light that I did when that 7-day session, it's not, I almost like the taste of I don't even enjoy the taste anymore. So things have already shifted a little with it. That's when
Yeah.
I realized, what is it about it then? And that's
Yeah.
when I realized it was very specific. It's spice drops and fruit slices, like gummy
Cool.
fruit slices, very specific candy. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. I
okay,
would do that again. I would do that again on the gummy feeling and then see what happens.
all right.
Yeah.
Thank
And then
you.
come back here in 2 weeks and give me the update.
All right. Thank you. So
All right.
nice.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Terry. Awesome. Okay. We've got Kim and then Kelly's next. Let's see. Time. Hey, Kim, go ahead and unmute yourself. Hey, and you guys know too that everybody who joined, Sally, you've told them about your Voxer, right? If you guys have questions in between these laser coaching calls, you guys have access to Sally with her. There's an application on your phone and you can send her a voice note via like walkie-talkie. So anybody's that's joined since I think November, you have your personal progress partner, which is Sally. You guys all had a phone call with her. So just know that in between these calls, if you don't have a coach, you do have access to Sally still, who's a coach. She's gone through my coach certification. She's been, you know, she lost almost 100 pounds, I think, you know, for like 4 years ago or something, has kept it off. So she's very, very well versed in my techniques and in the coaching modalities. And so she can, if something comes up for you and you're like not sure what to do, she's a great resource to get you through the laser coaching calls. If you feel like only Brittany can answer this, that might not be true. You have access to Sally and see what Sally, check in with Sally and see what Sally's feedback is for you. Okay. Just wanted to let everybody know that. Okay. Hi, Kim.
Hi,
Hey.
I'm new and I just
Welcome.
wanted to say hi, thank you.
Hi.
I've been, well, I'm new, but I'm not. I've been doing a lot of your like 7-day tapathons and for a few years. I actually bought
Oh.
Think and Thin probably the first time 10 years ago, never finished it. Bought it again last summer, didn't finish it. So this time I went, I'm going to do it. And I have some great buddies, so that's really good. But I find as I'm going through it, I have not many memories of childhood. And so when I try and do ball of light or do these things, it feels like it's all made up because I don't remember anything. The only thing that really comes up is abandonment. And I eat at night and I eat gummy candy at night, especially when I'm laying there in bed. And it just, like she was saying, I could totally relate. It's soothing.
Yeah.
And I have a husband that is still with, and some ways great guy, other ways not so much. Very negative, which has been, you know, not helping. And I've realized through listening to your things that it is definitely armor, you know, the weight. And I need to lose 100 pounds now. Um, I was always an athletic person my whole life, and then due to back injuries about 12 years ago, I got completely sidelined and have, gone from it being 20 to 30 pounds to now it's 100. So I'm trying to do, like, even doing this, I'm sitting in my bedroom kind of hiding, because I don't have the support there. Just trying to find ways to get through it. I know I need to get through it. And for 30 years, it's been, as I was always an independent person, traveled the world. At 16, I went to Singapore by myself to visit my brother, and I was skinny and little, and people are saying, oh, you're doing that by yourself. Aren't you afraid of white slavery? No, I can do this. I can do anything. To now I'm a person where I'm, I just don't feel like I can do anything.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm sorry, Kim. I've been in relationships like that, so I definitely empathize and I know how that feels.
Yeah.
What I'd like to recommend to you is if you can, and this isn't going to be easy to do by any means, but I think it'll shift things the fastest for you. And I don't know which way it's going to shift, but I just see this happen so often with people who are in situations where they keep coming back and they'll get a certain distance, but then they'll fall
Yeah.
off the wagon. If you can tackle the anger work head on, and if you eat at night, do you have a car?
Yes.
Okay. So just get in your car, do all your tapping in your car. Go drive to a grocery store parking lot, park in the back where you feel like you can be safe, or like go, out in the forest or somewhere where you feel safe, but you don't feel like you're like, you feel safe, but nobody's going to come and see you, drive up on you. And take your tapping and take some pillows with you in your car and have that be the time, and take some food with you, like prepare, like this is like you doing a session with yourself, right? You're taking care of yourself in this way.
Right.
So bring the food with you, bring some pillows with you. You've got the windows rolled up. Nobody's going to hear you. You're way far out, you're not close to people. So yeah, and I would do some anger work. So when you feel the cravings for the food at night, instead of eating, or when you feel that desire, I want you to punch pillows and scream and tap and do the anger work. I think that's the part. I know that's the part that you're missing, and that's probably what you hit, and then you get scared and run away, or then you forget about it.
Could be. Yeah. Well, I have a huge rebel in me, and unfortunately, she tends to fight against the wrong thing. Instead of fighting for me, when I should be speaking up or something, she'll fight me to continue doing what I should be doing.
Yeah, and that's super, super common because she just has the wrong information. She thinks that because you're alive right now, that she's doing a really good job protecting you.
Yeah.
And sometimes all it takes is just a logical, heart-centered, heartfelt conversation where you say, hey, listen, little Kim, this isn't working. Yeah, I know you're doing the best that you can. Thank you so much for protecting me, but this isn't working anymore. Can we try? Can I get you to support me? Can we try something else? I tell this story a lot, but there was when I first started doing Push the Food Away, I couldn't get myself to do it at first. Like I did it the first time and it was so scary to me and it worked so well that I freaked out and I didn't do it for like a month or two, but then my emotional eating was still there. So I remember having to trick myself into doing this. And I would say to myself, okay, listen, we're going to try this. And I remember walking this when I was living in Mexico. I would walk by like the equivalent of a 7-Eleven, and I wanted to buy chocolate. And I remember telling myself, okay, we're going to just try this. It's probably not going to work. I would say it's probably not going to work. We're just going to do one round. It's probably not going to work. And as soon as we're done with one round, you don't even have to do the other 2 rounds. Because at that point I knew that it took 3 rounds, but I was like, you don't even have to do the other 2 and we can still get your chocolate. So that was the agreement that I made with myself. And for the most part, After the first round, I didn't want the second. I wanted to keep doing the tapping, but sometimes I would just do one round and I would buy myself some chocolate because that was enough. You know,
Mhm.
so I think it's more about embracing this part of you and having conversations with you like she's an actual little girl, right? And saying, you know, instead of fighting her, which I think we're taught to do, right? Or like we're just so sick of all the self-sabotage, and we can, you know, we see this as such a negative thing that we hate this part of ourselves. And I want to encourage you to turn towards her because she could be your ally in this.
Mhm.
So
As I was growing up too, like I know where the feeling of abandonment comes from, and is my parents were always taking off and leaving us with strangers, and my brothers are 6 years and 7 years older than me, so they just, my parents, oh, we're going to Mexico for 3 weeks, you're staying with auntie so and so you've never met. And you know, oh, it's your birthday, oh well, we're leaving again. They, you know, they probably missed 19 of the first 20, you know, like that was just, and it's
yeah.
silly, but it's, you still remember it, right?
It's not silly, Kim. It's not
And
silly. And these
yeah,
are the things that I can see being really connected to anger and abandonment.
yeah,
Abandonment
at
is
10 o'clock at night, my husband goes to bed at 7:30 or 8, and at 10 o'clock at night, I'm again, we have separate bedrooms, and I'm in my room by myself, feeling alone and abandoned. And this is the first time actually I've had any emotion at all since I've started this course. Because I just, I'm so shut down.
yeah.
I don't, yeah, I don't have emotions. And that
Mm.
was going to be my question. Like, what if you're doing all this and nothing comes up?
Well, it feels like something's coming up
Something
now,
is
right?
starting to,
Yeah. What while you're in it, Kim, start tapping. I see some other ladies tapping with you. So just tap
Mhm.
when we get off here, just keep tapping and keep feeling this feeling.
Okay.
If every night you have an opportunity, what I'm hearing is every night you have an opportunity
Yes,
to
I do.
address the abandonment wound that you are very, very clearly in connection with.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, just turn towards it instead of away from it. And you have a community, you have support system, you have, you know, calls with me twice a month. You have Sally in between that you can connect with anytime you want. You've got buddies, you've got all the support. It's really just about you reaching out and asking for help, which you did today. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then continuing to do the work because it doesn't actually take as long as you think it will. You know, like it doesn't take as long as you think it will. If you really turn towards this, you can be done with all of this shit in 3 months, which is not that long in
No,
the
it's
grand scheme
not.
of things, right?
No.
It's longer than I would like to say in my marketing, but I would love it to be 6 weeks, but it's 3 fucking months if you
Yeah.
really work hard for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 3 months. So give
Yeah.
yourself the 3
Which,
months.
yeah, exactly.
What's 3 months versus the rest of your life?
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I have health issues, and my weight certainly hasn't helped that any. And,
Yeah.
you know, with my back issues, my life has completely changed. And
And Kim, I also want you to be aware of the stories that come up. You
yeah,
know, I want you to be aware. The thing that I don't want to put this in your space, but the thing that I'm curious about with you, I'm wondering what stories will come up around the relationship with your husband. Because as you start to heal this,
yeah.
look out for the part of you that's actually feels comfortable and safe living in this toxic environment.
Mhm.
Because there is a part of you that actually doesn't want out of this. And
Yes.
that part can come and sabotage and go, well, what are we going to do? Who's going to pay the bill? What, you
Yeah.
know, so there's a whole other layer of this that will start to come to the
Yeah.
surface. So you've got a few layers, and I just, you know, I'm just pointing
Yeah.
the yellow flag in
Yeah.
that direction. And just, you know, when that comes up, talk about it. Reach out to us. Come back to one of these calls. Talk about it with your buddies so that you can get support.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I did serve them with papers, you know.
Okay. Kim, I'm sorry. I
Okay,
have,
yeah, you
I
got it.
have other people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I want to hear everything, but I've got to respect everybody else's time as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Kim. Talk soon. Okay, Kelly.
Hi.
Hi.
I started last June with a 6-week course, and it took me till December. And I would jump on your calls every once in a while. And God provided the money in January. And I was like, I'm gonna do it because I haven't lost. I lost 2 or 3 pounds, and I've maintained it since June. But that's all. But I have had a lot of really significant improvements just in life and well-being and everything.
Awesome.
So that was my motivation. I was like, we can do this.
All right, Kelly, thank you for sharing. I'm glad you're back.
Yes. So I resonate a lot with Kim, like as far as the husband, and that's kind of part of my call or my question is like I get triggered with my mom, and then I say I married my mother.
Oh,
And so it's like, and I've even seen him and my husband improve. We've been married 15 years, and I'm not going anywhere. I mean, like it's just, that's not an option. So, but I guess I'm wondering, like, as I'm healing, will those relationships, I mean, I guess you can't really, I don't know if you can answer this, but will the triggers that I'm feeling, like if I talk to my mom at night and she triggers me, I immediately want to go to food, and I've done the push the food away, I've done all that, but I guess like there's multi layers to it, and throw in fertility problems. Since like 2017 we've been trying for offspring, and it's like it hasn't happened. And that's actually what last June, like I heard on your call that sometimes it helps with it. So I was like, I know that part of me holds on to that weight because it's like it's protecting me from I don't know what the layer is with that, but yeah,
okay.
there, yeah,
So wait, just so I'm clear, you're in a relationship with a man that
yeah,
you feel some resonance with what Kim was sharing.
yeah,
You guys don't have kids yet.
no,
And you're trying to have kids, but you can't have kids, and you're
yeah.
not okay.
And I think part of me wants to protect, like, if the future generation, in case he, what I mean? Like, I don't want future kids to be damaged the way that I've been damaged, I guess. And so that's where it's like, I don't know if my body is just, keeping on the weight because I'm not as attractive or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I say okay, so first of all, let's start with your mom. If your mom triggers you, typically triggers are like anger and boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
just like know that for like a period of time, if she's triggering you, you're just going to do some anger work after it,
Okay.
like it's, and you're probably not going to do it every time because you're not going to, but give it 20 minutes after you get off the
Mm-hmm.
call with her, give it 20 minutes, give yourself 30, give yourself, 20 of tapping, 10 to recover. You'll feel a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
You won't take the trigger in with you for the rest of the night or the day or whatever time it is. So, if you've heard me give people challenges for push the food away and for ball of light and things like that, that would be my challenge to you is like do anger work as often as your mom pisses you off or your husband pisses you off. Use that as an opportunity to heal the triggers and the anger, because I know it feels like it'll never go away. It feels like you can never get to the end of it. And I don't think we do truly get to the end of our anger because I don't think that's possible. However, I have experienced that you can actually shift your relationship with your biggest wounder, which was my mother. And it was, I mean, it just took a shit ton of anger work. And what I noticed over time is that she got a lot sweeter. And I started, what happened for me is that she got sweeter. And then my love language changed from words of affirmation to acts of service. And that's how she
Mm-hmm.
shows her love. And I started to be able to receive her love,
Mm-hmm.
which was fucking crazy. You know, I hosted her for her 70th birthday. I hosted her and my sisters at my house, and like my sisters were pissing me off and my mom wasn't. It was like, oh my God, what is happening right now? Like my mom is a joy to hang out with. So I like, and this woman was like, you know, the worst. I mean, she tormented me as a child. So, so yeah, if I have a challenge for you, I would say to use your triggers with your husband and your mom as a gateway to heal as much anger as you can for as long as it takes. And at some point, you're going to be like, Brittany, I can't fucking do this anymore. I don't want to do any more anger work. I'm so sick of you. I'm so sick of this program. And that's probably when you should take a break from it, right?
Mhm.
Like we'll keep track of this. You know, I'll keep track of you. Just keep coming to these calls. You've got access to Sally too. I don't know if you have any one-on-one coaching, but did you get one-on-one coaching?
No,
Oh, if you want some, you can ask Sally about it.
Okay.
So just, you know, we'll keep tabs on you, and I'll tell you when I think it's time for you to just take a break from tapping. And then you take a break from tapping, and that's usually when like the dust settles, and then your mind will go like, and you'll have these new belief systems, like you heard Helmy talking about, like how all of a sudden she's thinking about, you know, she's thinking different thoughts, and then let's see what happens. You know,
Okay.
you can't put pressure on yourself to like figure out your relationship, to try to get pregnant, to heal your relationship with your mom all at the same time.
Yeah.
So instead of doing that, just focus on the anger work, and all that shit will get solved in the way that it's supposed to, that is according to your highest and best good in this life. That's the spiritual answer that I can give you, because I can't give you the science answer. What
Right.
I have seen for 15 years of me doing this, though, is that your higher self knows exactly knows the answer. So if you're supposed to get pregnant, if you're supposed to stay with this guy, if you're supposed to work it out, or, you know, I don't know, write a book or go travel the world, you're gonna know once this process is over. So this is actually really kind of like exciting time where you're like, hey, I'm trying to do all these things, and you know, we don't know what the future holds for you. Maybe it's something totally different than what you're thinking for yourself.
Right.
But yeah, just let the anger guide you to your highest timeline.
All right. Will do. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Kelly. Okay, Linda, we're finally talking. Linda, yay, you figured out the hand.
I did.
Here we
The one
are.
that said raise hand. Yeah.
Raise hand. You know what? Listen.
That was it. So I have to say, this is the first call that I've been on with you. I just joined, I don't know, in the early February, and I'm really blown away by just being here. I'm in it. I'm tapping with people. I'm going through things. It's really quite remarkable. But what I wanted to talk to you is, I happened on your, I'm calling it a meditation on boundaries. And I did it, and I was my 7-year-old myself, and there was a nun that I was taking it up with. And the magic, the miracle for me was the healing center. Like I've had conversations that on my own, that where I make them go well, the conversations, you know, the way I want them to, but I'd never thought about the healing center, and it made all the difference. This nun came back, and I can start crying now. She stood in front of me, and she was really sorry. And actually it's all around my dad dying, Michigan, moving from Buffalo, where I love school, to Michigan, where I didn't, and this nun was just mean to me. And so this whole day I was just in it, in this loving, wonderful space with this nun apologizing for real. And that if circumstance means I can do the rest, you know. So I just want to say that and thank you for that, because it's the missing piece for me. And really, it was so moving, and it was, it was so unexpected. I'm sobbing in my kitchen. You know, found myself, and I was doing it by myself. And so anyway, I just want to thank you for that. And then with Kim, I did tapping, and my mom came up, and I did the same thing, and there was very little emotion. So the question I have is, does intensity matter? Like, I don't know how to read that, or whether I shouldn't compare it, but it was confusing to me because I think I'd have a lot more angst with her than this nun,
This nun.
who didn't give me a holy card for Christmas, but opened a floodgate of stuff around, for my dad and whatever was going on. Felt very healing about that situation. So, but then I turned to this other situation and I didn't know what to make of it, and I don't know if I need to make anything of it or what.
I would say that's really common. It's really common with parents, because especially after you have this experience with the nun. Oh shoot, where'd you go? There you go. Especially after you have this experience with the nun, I'm just gonna guess, but my sense is there's a part of you that's actually afraid to heal that deeply with your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it takes time to be willing to feel all the emotions, and
Yeah.
yeah. So
That's totally what I guessed, but I
okay,
just wanted it, because it seemed to me a sign that I hadn't said yes. Like the nun just surprised me. It's like
yeah,
I wasn't um uh resistant. There wasn't any resistance. It was just like unexpected. And the fact that she was so good about apology. Like, I know when good apologies are good, and hers was great.
right?
And I don't even trust my mother's, I bet. Like, I
Yes.
didn't think I trusted my mother going to the healing center and having her own healing experience enough. So I think you're right.
So you know what I had to do, Linda, until recently, and this really helped. And
Yeah.
for anybody else that has this challenge with their parent or somebody apologizing, one of my best friends is, she's a super high empath, and she's so good at apologizing, like in real life.
Yeah.
And so when I send my mom to the healing center, and I had to do this until recently, but almost exclusively until I actually healed my relationship with my mom, it wasn't my mom's words, it was the sound of my best friend. But it was like my best friend's words were coming through my mother. So I saw my mom saying the words, but I heard it in my best friend's voice and in the
Yeah.
way she would apologize. So that was the only way that I could do it. But I found myself little by little, as I was tapping and as I was
Wow.
experiencing that, it was easier for me to take it in. And over time, I really think that that's what shifted for me and allowed me to then finally see my mom, and after, I don't know, maybe, I don't know how many sessions, maybe 10 or 15 of times of that with my mom, then all of a sudden I could actually hear my mom apologizing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really helpful, because I figured I wasn't ready in some way, but I didn't, because that was so powerful and healed so much that, it's like
I almost feel like you were like gifted this like example of what's possible.
That's what it felt like to me. It's like,
Yeah.
holy shit, is that what this does? I'm standing in my kitchen and I'm listening to you, and I'm like, she's apologizing in the way that I understand deep apologies. It's like,
Yeah.
wow. And sobbing all day.
And I bet you were like blissed out of your
I
mind.
was blissed out because I know it was about my dad, and it was so much more than this holy card and this nun. So,
Totally.
but then the mother was a different. So I appreciate the help with that. I will invent someone else who does it for apologies.
Yeah.
And my mom
Yeah.
for a while. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm so glad you had that
Yeah.
experience though, Linda,
Yeah.
because I really feel like, um, I feel like we need those experiences to like hook us into this work, because we
It
can't, like,
did.
holy shit, like,
Holy shit is what
like
it's
you
like.
get it now.
Yeah,
And you're
no, it was a sign. It was a miracle. I haven't been having miracles a lot, and this felt like one of those where it's like, oh, I'm in the right place at the right time.
good, good. Yeah,
So,
that's my
thank you
sense
very
too.
much.
My
Thank
body's
you.
filled with goosebumps too. So
Yeah. Okay.
so it must be
Great.
true.
Yeah, must be true.
All
All
right.
right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Linda. Yeah. Can't wait to hear more about your journey and process. It's so fun. Okay, Michelle, and then Leah and Leanne. And Leanne is my last one that I'll take.
Hi, I know there's always a lot of Michelle, so I want to make sure I'm the right one.
Michelle Stone, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Steen.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
There you go.
Stone is not uncommon, so it happens all the time.
I just don't have my glasses on, and that's a new situation for me. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, forgot I gotta have those things now.
Well, it's my first call, like so many others. And Brittany,
Welcome.
I found you in maybe like December, and I joined the 6 week, and then I redid some of your calls in February, and I joined this program in February. So really excited to be here. And I have to tell you, one of the things that you said in one of the calls, the very first calls I was on, that resonated so much with me, and I wanted to just tell you how important it was just that rebel, like, authority figure, and how that plays out in your life and self-sabotage. So to me, that was a huge key of connecting with you with this work. And so I just wanted to say that first of all. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
so much.
really was really important. And my question is, I've been doing lots of body work, lots of somatic experience work, lots of, healing my trauma like so many other women. I've had sexual abuse. And so I had this experience on Sunday, and I wanted to ask your advice for moving forward. So my little 8-year-old, which is the very first time I had a sexual trauma, which was followed by something at 10 and then 12, all different people. So, the conversation was around kind of being at home alone and latchkey kid. And like, on one hand, I was very happy to be alone and do whatever I wanted. And then on the other hand, I was sort of like, I want someone to make me a snack and do my homework with me. Right. But the part of me that was home alone, I had this, like, it wasn't a visualization. It really was a feeling about literally shoving food into my mouth. And I know that experience at 8 years old was probably the very first one where I really started to gain weight, and it sort of happened slowly over time. And what I literally heard from my little girl as I was kind of having these experiences was like, "You will never see me again." And I was just like, and I've done a lot of work. I'm a hypnotherapist. I do hypnotherapy. I've done all the stuff, right? And and tapping is so powerful too. And so I was shocked and so saddened by hearing that from my little 8-year-old. And so, I'm processing that. And, I've been talking to her every day since then. And so my question to you is, with, like, sort of that very, like, powerful statement that she sort of had, what tapping protocol, or not protocol, but I guess what kind of tapping messages would you recommend to kind of help me continue to unlayer that?
Okay, I'm going to point something out with you, Michelle, that really important for people like you that have done a lot of work and have a lot of tools in their tool belt.
Yeah. And
this goes for, everybody here that is similar, which I'm assuming a lot of you are. And if you've gone to a lot of therapy also, right?
All that. Check.
Okay. So it can be enticing to want to follow the trauma when you have a memory like this come up, and where you're like, holy shit, oh my God, I remembered something. That's not the way that it works in my world.
Okay.
If following the food and the cravings and the addictive urges, that's the only thing that I want you to follow.
Okay.
Unless it's sexual trauma and you know that something happened to you, that's the only thing where you don't need food to take you there. If you know sexual abuse happened, then you can go there directly. But other than that, let the cravings and let the emotional urges take you to the right memories.
Okay, I like it. That's
Otherwise, it can it's almost a way that your subconscious mind can sabotage you and take you on a wild goose chase.
I totally
is what
see
I've
that.
seen is like, I don't know. Did you study with Gary Craig and do like okay. Well, some people that are like, have been around from like the early days, they'll come and they're like, oh, this is all the things that have happened to me. These are all the things I need to tap on. Most of them won't even be connected to their emotional eating disorder. So you can get through, you can put on paper like all the things you know have happened to you. And now that you have this, powerful way of tapping, you can address those things, and that might not fix the problem. So the hack and the faster way to get there is to use the food to take you there.
Yeah, I love that you're saying this, because when I did my 300 limiting beliefs, like I'm still in week 2, even though, time wise I'm not, but that's my activity. And I literally am like, how am I ever going to fix all this? You know what I mean? And it's so overwhelming. So this is really the best advice you could give me. Thank you. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, yay. Okay. You just simplified it so much for me.
It's so simple. I know. I wish I could simplify the rest of my life the way I can simplify this problem. Really,
follow the food. That is the message. Follow the food.
The food.
Okay.
And don't veer off from that. Don't go through. Yeah. Like, and test it when you do one round, come back and go, okay, check in with the food. Don't check in with the story. Check in with the food. Do I still want the food? What's my number on a scale from 0 to 10?
Okay. I love it. Thank you so much. And thank you for the work. I'm so excited to be working with everybody.
Oh, cool. I'm so glad to hear, Michelle. Thank you for sharing that. Yay. I get so filled up by these calls from you guys, just so you know. I love them. Okay, Leah. Lee.
Okay, so I'm Leah, and I'm probably a good follow-up to Michelle. I have a question. When in the visualization of push the food away, at least in some of them, you have us take like little Leah into my heart and then progress her through time to the present day.
Yeah.
And what I'm finding is that as I progress through time, my progression is all of the hardships that I have gone through. And I'm not sure what that means, if that's my tendency to see things as the glass half empty, if that's my desire to protect the Leah, if that's something that I should be tapping on. Help me make sense of that.
So, okay, explain it to me again. When you pick her up and you put her in your heart.
I pick her up and I put her in my heart, and then you say go through each of the edges till you're. So here, the last visualization I did, I actually had Leah at 18, and 20 was they were concerned about a brain tumor, and early 30s was breast cancer, and late 30s I was dealing with a newborn, and 40s was a divorce.
Oh,
and
I see.
Like
what you're
I go
saying.
through all the
understand.
hardships in my life rather than all of the wonders in my life.
Yeah. So I don't say that on the recording for the echo tapping process. I don't actually say that. I just say have her grow up inside of you. So maybe on one of the recordings I have you go through the ages, but if that's confusing and if you get stuck on the negative things that have happened, I understand, because that's happened to me too before. Just imagine her growing up like quickly. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Don't get stuck there. There's nothing wrong with you. That's super normal. And yeah, like
I just wanted to check that I wasn't missing something.
No. Okay. The only way to do that and to not get stuck on the negative is to be in such a positive, happy state that it's kind of like, it is an NLP technique actually. And it works really well for people that aren't as like empathetic and sensitive and emotional as we all are here. So it's really good. It can be useful for, I find it works best for men, to be honest. Like they can have like a really positive feeling and a positive memory and then change that logically in their head, but it's much more difficult for women. So I probably it was probably just one recording where I did it that way. Do it the other way, where the recording that is the binge eliminator, do it that way.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, Leanne. Hey, Leanne. Oh, you got to unmute yourself, I think.
I unmuted myself. I think somebody muted me back. You can hear me now. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So I just wanted to come on and say, like, I've been going through, I'm in the third chapter, don't do your plate, whatever that is, you know.
Cool.
And it didn't resonate with me because it's like, I'm sure that, I know like friends of mine at the time, we heard the thing, like people are starving in Africa, that kind of stuff. But like, I always ate. I can remember my mother saying, like, when I was a child and, when I was a baby, I was adopted. When I was a baby, she said that she didn't know. She said, I just can't. She said, I would eat anything that she fed me. I would just keep eating. So she just kept feeding me. And I was trying to think, I'm like, so this doesn't really resonate with me, but like all these different thoughts were coming up. And one that I remember thinking was like, I know that sometimes when I eat, I will, it will be so good. I'll be full, but I don't want to stop eating it because it's almost as if I think I'm never going to get this food again or something like that. Even though logically, I know you can go put it in the refrigerator and heat it up tomorrow.
So
and I
Leanne, I'm
guess,
curious, what happens when you push food away? Not when you throw it away, but what happens when you push it away?
so I have not done that one yet. I've been going through each chapter. So you think that's where I should focus on?
That's the next one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I had something else I was going to say, and it left me. Oh well.
Don't worry, because that push the food away, that's going to take all your time and attention, and that's the only thing that I want you to focus on. Okay.
Okay. And is that the boot camp one?
Yeah, we do have a boot camp for it, but you can learn how to do it. You learn how to do it, and then there's a recording of me walking you through it. I think it's like 15 minutes.
Just keep doing it.
So just keep doing it, as whenever you feel that urge to eat and you're not really hungry, and especially when you feel the anxiety, or whatever the feeling was that you were just describing, where you're like, oh, I'm just keep eating and eating. That's when I want you to push the food away and tap. And if you need to keep eating while you start tapping, that's okay too. Sometimes people are like, oh shit, I really need to eat something. Sometimes you can be so triggered that you really need to eat something. That will give your brain like this, a little bit of the soothing, and then that'll give you the courage to do the push the food away.
Well, and like this afternoon, probably around the time when I don't know what it's like, I was like in a bad mood or something, and I just thought, I want to go and eat something. And I'm like, I'm not hungry. You're not going to go anything. So, I mean, it's like those things come and go all the time.
Great. And so now, as you become more aware of those moments, so first of all, congratulations, because it's really hard to have the awareness to say, I'm not really hungry. So now, instead of I'm not really hungry, after that thought, you can say, oh, I can do the push the food away now.
Okay.
Every time you notice yourself like, I want to eat something. Hey, wait a second. I know I'm not really hungry. That's when you do the push the food away.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And it'll change your freaking life if you just focus on that for a month. Okay. That's all I want you to do. Don't worry about any of the other modules. Just focus on that for the next month.
Oh, well, thanks.
Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. D and J, last one. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thanks, Brittany. Last time when I talked to you, I was telling you the same thought kept coming up over and over, the same me at the same place in life. And you said, I think you need to do some anger work. And so I really resisted doing the anger work. Nice girls don't get mad. But when I did it, I realized that I had already sent my father to the healing center. And so I had a hard time staying there. I did get good and mad. But then he just said, yeah, I told you, I'm so sorry. I thought this was going to make you stronger because that's the way it worked on your mom, and it was like, okay, am I done? Because I already got him healed.
Well, let me ask you, when he apologized like that and he told you why, did you feel your whole body relax and go like, oh, finally?
I did. Because I don't think my dad ever apologized to anyone in his life. So it was very real for me. It was very, I was, but it's, I really heard it. I really believed it. I haven't really let go of it all yet.
Yeah.
But I do
the way to know is with your relationship with food. The way to know if you've let go of it is just testing and seeing how you are with food without controlling it, so again, go back to your behavior around food instead of, I think I told you about anger when you were getting really triggered and there were a lot of things that were frustrating you, right?
No, I kept thinking there was something wrong because each time I went in to do
You were
echo
going back to the
tapping,
same thing
it
over
was
and
the
over.
exact same memory.
Okay. So what happened after that? After you had that session with your dad, have you had emotional eating and used the
Yeah. No, I was on a roll. My clothes were getting looser. I was feeling so good. We went away for 2 days and I ate too much while we were away and I have not been able to get back into a rhythm. It's like, I know I'm not hungry. I just don't want to tap. No, I'm not going to tap right now.
Yeah. And that's normal. That's normal. Everybody does that. I just got back from vacation for 2 weeks and my house is a mess and I'm eating like shit, but that's okay. You just get back on track. Like it's not a big deal. You don't have to make a big drama about it. Because that's what your brain wants to do. There's nothing wrong with you. It's super normal. We all get off our routines and rhythms. Yeah, you're normal. Everything's okay. It doesn't make you a weirdo. Also, because this works so well for you, there's a part of you that's like, oh, do I have to go do the tapping thing? I'd rather just eat. It's more fun to eat. It's more fun to just like not, because it's work. This tapping stuff is work, right? So it makes sense that you went on vacation and maybe you need a little bit longer on vacation. Maybe you need to put this down and not tap for another week. Give yourself permission to take another week off. Maybe you need that, right? We all need a break from work. We all need a break from, the things that we do that are hard. We all need a break from those things. So this is hard work. This is considered work. So if you need to take a break, do it, and then come back to it. And if you eat a little too much or if you binge a couple times, who cares? Really, who cares? You're not going to gain 100 pounds from 2 binges, and you're not going to you're in an environment where you're not going to steer off course that much, right? So like, okay, yeah, you're doing great. You're noticing changes. Maybe there's a part of you, maybe there's a little self-sabotage in there, but then maybe there's another part of you that's like, I just want to relax and not have to do all this hard stuff. So give it a week and give yourself a container around it. Okay, I'm going to give myself a week off and then come back to it.
I love that because each day that I didn't then go back and do it right, I got more angst, more worked up about, oh my gosh, I've lost it. How did I lose that? It was working so well.
Totally. And I think this is like dieting PTSD, right? Where it's like if you fall off track, then you put all the weight on and then you never come back to it because dieting is so fucking hard and it's like we don't like to do it. And this work is really hard, but you're not restricting your calories here, right? You still get to eat whatever you want. So in a lot of ways, this is a lot easier than dieting, but it's the same kind of mentality that it's the same kind of mentality with getting off track. So don't worry, here it's okay to get off track. In fact, I encourage it. Get off track a little bit. Recover yourself, reset, come back,
Oh, that feels so good.
Yeah, doesn't it? Good. I'm so glad.
I'm not screwed. Oh, good.
You're not screwed. No, you're not screwed. I promise. Yeah, you're still going to get great results. And yeah, and then just see what happens. Maybe you solved it all with your dad. We don't know. We won't know until because also the shame and the internal dialogue and beating yourself up, that'll make you eat more too. So we don't know if it's we don't know if it's something over here or if it's just all the shame and the feeling of guilt that's causing you to eat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks
Woo!
for talking to me.
You're welcome. I'm glad you raised your hand. All right, ladies, thank you so much for being here. What a great call. Thanks for all your amazing questions. And yeah, give yourself some twinkle fingers, some snaps, some claps, whatever you want to do. So don't forget about Sally. Meanwhile, your buddy groups that I know Sally keeps you all informed with. I know we have a new study group that's starting also. If you're not in one of those, we've been working on that behind the scenes with the coaches. And we've got all sorts of cool stuff coming up for you. And also remember that you are supported in between these calls as well. So whenever you have a problem or a question, or you're like, I'm not really sure what to do about that, You don't have to hold on to it until the next laser coaching call. You can check in with Sally and she'll get back to you. You're not bothering her. She'll listen to it on her own time when it's right for her, when she's in a space where she can get back to you. So don't feel like you're intruding. I know everybody here is a highly sensitive empath, and we're all so polite, and we're all so worried about taking care of each other. But like, don't worry. We here, me, Sally, coaches, we all know how to take care of ourselves. So you guys can reach out to us and ask us your questions and get the help you want, and just know that we'll get back to you in a way and in the timing that works for us too. So yes, the break permission, you're welcome, Kim. To take a break if you can't, and if you can't stand me, and if you can't stand my voice, and if you're so sick of this class, take a break. Truly, don't tap for a while. Take a week, take 2 weeks off, whatever it is. If you need to reset yourself, that is absolutely okay to do, because this is a lot of work and you guys are going really deep. And yeah, sometimes we just need a break. You need a little vacation. So take it if that's what you need. All right. Lots of love, everybody. Good to connect with you. Mwah. See you soon. Bye, everybody.